I have to say, I missed doing the intro to the last episode. It wasn't quite the same. I'm sure you all missed it as well, because this is primarily where the comedy comes from, and it's to give you an update on how things are going. I got pretty annoyed in the last episode. I'm glad I didn't record it live, because probably most of it would have had to have been censored out thanks to the goalkeeping. But I'm back with a bigger quiff than the points difference between us and top place Burnley. It's pretty big, isn't it? Yeah. The quiff, obviously. We're back, but not necessarily rolling. It's time to try and pick up some form. Let's see how we get on. That's right, viewers, it's time for another episode of the FIFA 23 Derby Career Mode, and as I stated in the opening bit there, the gap between us and Burnley at top is quite a distance. It's around about 14 points as it stands. We're sat in 9th in the table, and we will be playing some game around against the teams that are kind of in and around us today, starting off with Millwall. Hopefully we can pick up a little bit of form. It's been very, very stop-start recently. Last episode wasn't great. We didn't pick up one win, which was a bit disappointing. But hopefully today we'll be able to put a little bit in. We've also got a game against Stoke, we're bottom of the table. It's just one of those things at the moment where I'm not quite feeling 100% comfortable in the way that I'm playing. It feels like because I've switched the balance a little bit to try and be a bit more defensively minded, it's really compromised my attacking play, which is obviously the thing I'm probably best at on FIFA. But as I said, we start off the game against the episode against Millwall today, and it was a pretty tight affair really in the first half. Not a lot going on, but you can see here we shift the ball nicely through the midfield. Cal actually really impressed me in today's episode. Does very well, finds Jimenez, who I think is arguably having the standout season of anyone. He finds Louis Sibley, and it's a decent effort on his wrong foot, but a good save by the goalkeeper who was equal to it. It was a pretty even game all the way through. Millwall did well here through Benicophobe down the right hand side. He tees it back to Aarons and into Fleming, and just the football here was phenomenal. Lovely one-touch, two-touch, and they just moved it so quickly through the defence. It was unbelievable. But one thing I will point out is just the lack of midfield bodies that get in. You can see there Njezovic, it's not brilliant from him. He just doesn't follow the run back. He doesn't get tight. They don't try and cut out the crosses. I think the problem is I've gone for a really, really young with this squad, and yeah, obviously cynically, that doesn't make as much of a difference on FIFA, but I feel like they are going to be inconsistent. But one good thing that is consistent is Kenneth Brenner. He scored yet again to make it 1-1. Thank God we got him, because honestly, if we didn't, I don't know where we would be in this league table. It's a great ball by Cadillac, who, like I said, really impressed there. He just fizzes it across the box, and it's a great first time finish from Brenner, who made a good far post run. And again, really, the game sort of topped and swerved a lot. Topped and swerved, is that a thing? Sort of ebbed and flowed a lot, and the momentum was all over the place. 1 minute it was ours, then it was Millwall's, then it was ours again. And it was just about who could be a bit more clinical. Unfortunately for us, Brenner plays a good ball into Chamiti, who I have to say has been really impressive in recent weeks. He fires a good shot there into the far corner. I think he is going to potentially be the kind of main partner now for Brenner. I think they complement each other a little bit better than Jones and Brenner do. Jones is decent, I think, when you want to bring him on to stretch the defence for a counter-attack. Other than that, I don't really think he adds as much. And in the 90th minute there, Brenner hits the bar. Really should score by his standards. It's a bit of a sitter, and I was gutted that he missed it. But we got away with it, got a 2-1 win in a really, really tight-fought game. Fair play to Millwall. They came and they really tried to play. You can tell there we had 6 shots to their 5. Possession was pretty even Stevens, which is unusual for me, but they did really well. But we got the 3 points, that's all that matters. You can see here that we end up selling Khaled Munir, obviously a player I bought in front of free, so that's a good bit of profit basically made. Before then we hosted Middlesbrough at Pride Park. Now the home form is something I've been really wanting to kind of work on a bit, and it is, I always feel a bit more confident when we go in at Pride Park, and it obviously is confident for the players as well though, as Chamiti gets a little bit unlucky with a deflected shot, but it's a lovely run by him. I have to say he impressed in this episode as well. He manages to kind of be, he's not clinical, but the amount of chances he makes is ridiculous. But as usual, we have a habit of going behind, and Borough get it there. It's a lovely bit of play again, but again, it's the midfield runners not tracking the midfield runners back. It's just not good enough, really. Again, you can see here, Njezovic not really in the right place at the right time, and poor old Blake Daniels in goal has got no chance with really any of these. It's one thing I can say today is that the goalkeeping, I don't really think I can blame them for any of it. But fortunately, one thing we have developed the habit of is bouncing back really quickly from goals. And Max Bird there, with a lovely finish on his wrong foot, buries it into the far corner after a lovely bit of through ball play down this side there. Sibley is still playing really well in terms of the assists. It's just the goal return I think that's really struggling. And general overall play. His end product in terms of assists is not bad, but when you compare it to last year where he was double figures for goals and assists, I can't see Sibley getting there this year. He's just not quite the same player. We dominated this game really, to be honest, against Borough, and you can tell they're simply just heading the ball wide. It was a bit unfortunate, but we played some much better stuff, and the balance felt a little bit better in this game. I don't really know what it is. Maybe it's just a confidence thing. That's a brilliant ball there through from Chamiti into Jimenez, who was bombing down the left-hand wing pretty much all the time at the moment. You can tell I've really kind of focused on using the wing-backs and getting them into the game a lot more. Second half was more of the same, really, just pounding on pressure onto Borough. And Sibley there obviously has a really good shot that the keeper saves. And even from set pieces, we look so much more dangerous as Chamiti here just holds the ball up, finds Jankovic, who tees into Kadlec. Another good save. It just felt like a matter of time before we got the goal we deserved. And then I do this. Jimenez on the ball, passes it into Jankovic, and he just underhits the pass. It's not a good one. Obviously, then it's a 1-1. It's a brilliant first-time finish, to be fair. Again, Daniels can't do anything about it, but I just felt like I was making it really difficult for myself, to be honest. But, again, like I said, a habit that we've gotten into is getting back into games really, really quickly, and we do it again here. Sibley finds Bird. Bird squares it back, and Kadlec again there on the receiving end just to smash it in at the far post. It's been the football in this game was so much better. It's just, again, the defensive side of things, I think, is where we're really struggling. Fortunately, though, 5 minutes after that goal, Bird, who I have to say was man of the match today, fires in Chamiti, and what about that for a first-time finish? He absolutely buries it. The timing of the run is perfect. Not sure why the defender's playing him onside, but Yusa Chamiti gets yet another goal. Not bad. Not a bad return at all this season for a guy that we got for free. And it was really good to actually finally get a kind of winning goal in the last minute, because it's been a while since we got them. But with only 5 minutes to go, it's a great finish into the top bins. You can see it. I love this camera angle because it smashes the camera. It's just the way he opens up his body and then hammers it in. Yes, it's from 8 yards, but I just really enjoyed the finish. And again, very similar really to the Millwall game. We just ground this result out. Whether we deserved it or not, I think we deserved it a bit more in this game than we did in the Millwall one. But the most important thing is that we got the job done. We're not blowing teams away this year like last year. There were games where we were winning by more than 2 clear goals, and that is not happening this year at all. We then travel away to, I don't even know what it's called now. Is it called just the Stoke City? The Bet3? Is it still the Bet365? Or the Old Britannia, basically, is what it used to be. But they're currently bottom of the league and really, really struggling. And I have to say, this game did nothing to kind of deter me from from thinking that they should be down there. As Jimenez plays a great ball here into Chamisi, finds Brenner, and within the first 10 minutes, we are already 1-0 up. Kenneth Brenner again on the score sheet, again with an assist from Chamisi. Like I said, these two forming a pretty decent partnership at the moment up front, and the form of the two of them is kind of propelling us a little bit further back at the league. And this is much more like it today. I felt a little bit more at ease with the kind of attacking play and the controls, and I don't know why, it just flowed a lot easier than it did in the last game. Some poor goalkeeping there, potentially. Probably not, considering how close it is to it. You can tell, obviously, my manager there, very, very happy with the result. That's 14 goals in 17 matches for Brenner. He's done very well to fill the hole that Lungoy, obviously, is left after his departure. One thing I will say, and it's classic FIFA, is that the the team at the bottom, the minute they went behind, I have to say, they suddenly started playing brilliantly, and Blake Daniels was called into action many, many times during this game. But fortunately, he was equal to the majority of it. Chamiti there just unfortunately not quite getting his head on the end of that shot. That cross from the corner. And we began to dominate a little bit more. You can tell here there was a really prolonged period of pressure where we just kept cracking off shots, but just couldn't quite get through. It was terrific blocking from Stoke, kind of seat of your pants sort of stuff. And before half-time, Blake Daniels pulls off another brilliant save there to deny them. He had a very, very good game, and I think he's growing into that number 1 jersey quite nicely, even though it's obviously not literally the number 1 jersey, but he's the number 1 goalkeeper at the moment. Chukwuemeka I brought on, thought I'd give him a little bit of a run out here, a decent effort there. And the second half was a lot more quiet, to be fair, or some would say quieter, that's better English. But unfortunately, 92nd minute, give the ball away up front. They carved for us, and this goal really pissed me off, to be honest. I'm not going to lie. A, because they gave the ball away. but the bouncing was a little bit to be desired, and Brown ends up getting a very, very decent finish. Stoke get I wouldn't say an undeserved equaliser. I thought they were pretty decent during the game, but it's still very annoying. If you watch it here on the instant replay, I was that annoyed I had to instant replay it. Jankovic does really well to intercept it, somehow then gets tackled, and obviously it just literally falls straight back to him. Where else could it have possibly fallen? A bit of a gutting result, really, but ultimately not really something I can complain about. The game was a bit more even. We didn't put them to the sword at the end of it, and Blake did keep us in it in the first half, so honours even. We finish off today's game. Gotta stop saying that. We finish off today's episode with a game away at Hull, and this is one that I'm not normally a fan of because I tend to do very poorly against Hull on FIFA. Don't ask me why. They're a bit of a bogey team. But today, not as much of a big issue as we got on the front foot right from the off, and we just pressed home the advantage, to be fair. Obviously, simply testing the goalkeeper very early there. Ferguson came in as well for a bit of a tired Tanganga, and Brenner there stinging the palms of the goalkeeper. Again, I say stinging, he basically floated it right at him. And yeah, even though we made a brilliant start, this is becoming a habit of mine, passing it around a little bit too much at the back, being really poor. Lovely little shift of body weight there by the Hull forward, and after 20 minutes from their first shot on target, they're 1-0 up. It was just infuriating, especially when you've made the mistake yourself. But as I said, we've developed a really good habit of bouncing back really quickly, and Chamiti, again the main man today, manages to get through and finishes a lovely move. Good play by him and Sibbers again, who obviously racks up yet another assist for himself, and that left it at 1-1. We kind of tried to really press home the advantage at half time, but unfortunately Hull began to really defend quite well, which is annoying, and they kind of kept us at arm's length. Chamiti, their air shotting is probably the closest we came to having another chance really on goal. But the second half followed a similar pattern, and I have to say my favourite player at the moment is Jimenez, and this is why. I don't know why I love this goal so much, but there's just something really enjoyable about the fact of your wing back just suddenly being the furthest player forward. And can he finish? You bet he can. He kind of been threatening to do it all day really in this episode. You saw him earlier miss a chance to have a really good run and a good shot earlier that didn't quite go in. Today he makes amends for it. It's a brilliant finish, getting us a 2-1 lead against Hull. I was very, very pleased with the way we played, actually. This is probably the game where I felt the most at ease going forward, and I felt like the game was really flowing and we were playing some good stuff as Chamiti plays in Brenner here, and he makes it a 3-1 with a delightful finish into the far corner. Finally, we actually get 2 goals up in a game. It's been way too long since the last time that happened. Again, Jimenez at the fore of it to Chamiti, who racks up another assist to Kenneth Brenner. That front two today, on fire, absolutely on fire. Unfortunately, they took us to a 3-1 win. So 3 wins and 1 draw from today's episode. Not a bad day's work, I would like to say. And you can tell that we absolutely battered Hull, 60 possession to 40 and more shots. December coming up looks like a really busy month. We've got 8 matches. 8, I say. So that's probably going to be 2 episodes worth. Not sure if I'm going to do them live or not. But the most important thing is that we are now back up into the playoffs. We are sat in 6th position. Still 14 points behind Burnley, who are just kind of pressing on. I can't see us catching them because I just think that they are in a completely different league at the moment. Well, not really. Obviously, they're in the Championship. But you know what I mean, figuratively. We've just got to hang around there. Yeah, we're not too far off of West Brom, who are 9 points ahead. Fingers crossed that we can kind of just keep up this momentum and get more results like we did today, and hopefully we'll be there or thereabouts. Look at the goal difference of +1. It's all very nip and tuck with us, isn't it? Not brilliant. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, then please do drop a like on the episode, share, subscribe, and until I see you again for another one where we take on the very hefty December, stay cool.